around some parts of Lagos. My name is Pelu, Awofeso, but Pelu for short. And I run a tour company called Travel Next Door, and that is a company taking you on this sightseeing around Lagos. Welcome to Lagos. I know you have been welcomed already, but welcome again from myself and my assistant, Cecile. We had a tour. We had the first tour 2 days ago. There was just Tim, Ellen, Ginny, and Oscar.
Yay.
Just the 4 of them. I was so sad because I was expecting about 12 people, and then we are just 4. I'm happier this morning because we have almost like a full house. So I'll basically give you a bit of an introduction into Lagos. Say a couple of things, just highlight some of the important things that I think you ought to know. And then if you have any questions at all, you have something you need me to clarify, you have questions that you need an answer to, I will be more than happy to respond. So the Lagos that we know now, started sometime in the 16th century from a part of the city now called downtown Lagos. It started as a land of settlers. So basically Lagos is a land of migrants. People came from different parts of what is today Western Nigeria, and were all drawn by the lagoon. The earliest settlers were fishermen and farmers. Okay, so they were the ones, in the course of looking for a new place, they found Lagos, and then they settled in. Other people came after them, and then as the decades passed, the Portuguese came, and then the British came. The Portuguese came and left, and then they came again. While they were away, the British came in and gained more ground. But of course, so at some point in the 19th century, the Portuguese and the British were dealing in slavery, around Lagos. Because slavery was a main thing at the time. The local people came purely for domestic fishing and farming reasons. The Portuguese and the British came basically for slave trading. But after some time, that gave way, and then there was a trade in palm oil. The palm oil trade replaced slave trading, and then Lagos progressed from there. After the British came, they saw the prospects of Lagos as a major economic hub on the West African coast. And they felt, we can't just leave this place, because if we leave, the French were next door in Benin Republic. They already had a very strong presence in Benin Republic, and they were like, if we dare to leave, all the work that we've done in stabilizing this place is going to go to waste, and then the French are going to come and then take over. So the British stayed, and Lagos became the center of their political power. Of course, while they had a strong base here, they moved to the hinterlands and tried to control a lot of the economic activity up in the north. And then gradually, of course, the British came with Christianity. The Fulani jihadists in the north came with Islam. So Lagos basically is a melting pot of religions. It's a melting pot of cultures and traditions. We all came from different places. Our ancestors came, we met some people, and then it has become this city of about 24-25 million. Official figures put Lagos at maybe 18 million, but we know that we are more than 18 million. We are in the 20 millions. And when you see Lagos now, it's more or less like a cosmopolitan city. But at the heart of it is a very strong tradition and culture. You don't see that every day when you move around. But if you were to... you have a question?
Ask a question.
Okay.
What's the total population?
According to... So there's a federal government estimate.
Yeah.
And there is a Lagos state government estimate.
Okay.
The last census was done in 2018?
Yeah.
Okay. There was one in 2012 that was disputed.
Right.
That put the population of Lagos at about 18 million. But shortly after that was announced, the Lagos state government said, no, we can't agree with that. We need to do our own census. And so a fresh census was done by the Lagos state government. And that put the population at about 22 million.
And the total population of Nigeria?
It's about 200 million people.
200 million
People, yes, across Nigeria.
Wow.
Yeah. So there was supposed to be, census is done every 10 years. We're supposed to have another census in 2016. I don't think it was done. But right now, the federal government is now doing the necessary groundwork for the next census. This is an election year, so we're not going to have a census this year. Most likely there will be a census next year.
Okay.
All right. So, the earlier settlers in Lagos realized that at some point they needed to have some sort of orderliness and control. So we began to have chiefs who later became kings. All right. And then when the British came, even the Portuguese, they met these chiefs on the ground. And essentially, when they arrived, they had to go to them for permission to say, you know, guys, we have just come to your territory. We need some land to do our thing and practice our trade and buying and selling. So the king at the time, they had the power. They owned the land, and so they allocated land to all the different visitors. Shortly after the British came, African slaves who had been taken to Cuba and Brazil and all of that, and some that were not taken but were rescued on the IC and taken to Freetown in Sierra Leone. They realized, okay, now slavery is abolished. We are not educated. We are now mostly Christians. We think we want to go back to where our fathers came from. And so a group of them hired like a ship from Freetown in the 1830s, I think. And then they sailed all the way across the coast. And as they were moving, many of them still have memories of where they were taken. And so when they got to the port of Lagos, they realized that this was where we were taken from, and then they stopped here. The ones who could still trace their own origins back into places like Abeokuta and Ibadan, not too far from here, went all the way. But most of them stayed in Lagos. So in addition to the settlers, we also have what is called the Afro-Brazilian community in Lagos. It's called the Afro-Brazilian community, but we also have Cubans who came, Afro-Cubans who came here. And but again, they're also called Portuguese because they spoke Portuguese when they in Brazil. And then they came back. So there was this mix of English-speaking people, Yoruba-speaking people, Portuguese-speaking people. Everybody was just there. They found a way to do business and to organize their daily lives. So on our first tour, we went around the Afro-Brazilian community because Lagos has an Afro-Brazilian heritage in architecture. So, but it's not everywhere. You won't see them in places like this. You will only see them in the old parts of Lagos because that was where they settled. The king gave them land in that community, and they grew. So right now, I mean, until recently, we also didn't realize that we had a lot of descendants of the Afro-Brazilians, and they are just there. We are all the same color, dark brown and whatever, but they are so passionate about their Brazilian heritage that they've continued the tradition up until now. So every Easter holiday, you will see them come out in their colors, yellow and green, and the carnival. And then so they brought carnival to Lagos. The carnival culture, they brought it all the way because of the Brazilian influence, and Lagos began to have carnivals, and it is still done even up to now. Yes. So in terms of the tradition, we have a king in Lagos. The king also has his own, more or less like a cabinet. All right. So it's a traditional rulership, also in downtown Lagos. And then we have, in that cabinet, we have 4 groups of chiefs who are selected from different families. So we have this king, we have 4 broad families of chiefs who have different roles. Some are medicine people, they are good with traditional medicine. Some are known as landowners. Some are into the traditional form of worship. So they are broken down like that. They all join. So again, in addition to the king, we also have like a traditional prime minister who comes from one of the 4 families of Lagos. So they used to run the affairs of Lagos before the British came and took over and imposed Western style